Hey everybody, welcome to the 30 for 30 book challenge announcement kickoff video. So this is going to be more informal than what I usually do, but that's by design because we're trying to do a thing here. So I'm going to talk today. I do have some notes on cards and everything. I've got some notes about what I want to talk about and make sure I cover everything. Try to get it done in one. Hopefully. I want to talk about what the 30 for 30 book challenge is, what I'm doing, why I'm doing it, what you can do as part of it, either with me, which would be cool, or you can do it for yourself, which would also be cool, or you could maybe like a larger content creator will steal this idea and do it much better than I do. It's fine, you know, I get like 5% of the gross. It's a great idea. You can go do it, have fun with that. But what we're gonna do, what I'm gonna do, why don't I start with what the challenge isn't, because you might be wondering, is it read 30 books in 30 days? No, it is not. I don't have time for that. You don't have time for that. If I had time for that, I would just do it. That's just what I would do. I mean, I wouldn't even do that. I'd probably be like painting miniatures all day for 30 days if I had that much time. But I don't have time to do that. But what I do have time to do, which is what we're going to do with this challenge, is spend an hour a day reading a book. That I can do. I got this idea kind of a little bit from actually Ali Abdaal, his book Feel Good Productivity, which is I think it's over. Yep, it's over there. He's got this great idea about goal setting, and that you should set nice goals instead of smart goals. And maybe I'll put something in the edit about what all this means. But basically, the thing that really leapt out of the page at me was the idea that our goals, as we set goals, it's less important to set an objective, like the finish line, what the target state is. It's better to set a goal for yourself of something that is input based, something that you can tell yourself, you know what, I can put into this goal every day. And something like, I can read a book an hour a day. That's an input based goal, rather than saying, I'm going to read all the books on my shelf, or I'm going to read a ton of stuff. I said, no. That's a problem because it's so big and it's so far away and you see it off in the distance, and even when you're making progress toward that goal, it's always going to feel far away. So I don't want to do that. Instead, let me make something that is very small and local and reasonable and manageable, and something that is in my control. So I can do this, and that's what I'm going to do. So for 30 days, I am going to read a book. I'm going to pick a book up off the shelf, a new book every day. I don't think I'm going to do repeats, but, you know, I'm open to things if things change and things adapt and as we go. This is going to be interesting to see at the end of this what we end up doing and how it looks the same or different from what I come up with now, what I'm describing. But basically, I'm going to spend 1 hour a day, every day. I'm hoping one continuous hour, but you know, kids and work and schedule and things are happening, so I might break it up, maybe do 30 minutes and 30 minutes later. But spend an hour sitting right here, this desk, this chair. It's very comfortable. I usually try not to draw attention to it. That's how informal we're being today. But sitting here and reading a book. So a new book every day, spend an hour reading it, but not just reading it. I'm going to be taking notes on it. So first of all, let's back up. So I can't read the whole book in an hour. What I can do is look at it with this intention to sort of absorb it from the top down, right? So to go through it, to start reading through it at sort of a brisk rate, skip past the introduction, skip past stuff, get to the real meat of it, get to the advice, get to the action, get to the specifics that are in there. I'm not going to be doing, when I say books, for this challenge at least, I'm not going to be doing like literature or the like. I'm not going to be doing any of that. I'm not going to do fiction because that is not, that's more of a personal challenge. I don't think there's much benefit at all to putting it up here. We'll talk about that in a minute. But the stuff that I want to do is, it's stuff that they're books that we should be internalizing. So there's a lot of stuff about productivity, there's a lot of stuff about specific techniques. Some of it is related to IT. I think a lot of it is related to productivity and just sort of organizing yourself in general. I think could be really, really interesting. I am not above a cookbook. If you think that would be interesting or intriguing, leave a comment down below. Could be fun. I am 1,000% open to being completely audience captured on this. And if you guys think there's some really crazy out there stuff that you would want to see the results of, we're going to talk about the results in a minute and how we're going to be posting this. But if you want to get engaged and you want to throw ideas, I'm willing to be audience captured. Or if you are like one of those marketing people from a large corporation with money, I'm just saying, like, maybe your book makes it on the shelf, and I'm joking, but if someone did, we would tell you. I would tell you. It's not going to happen. But if someone were to do that, I would tell you. I would say, oh, this so-and-so sent me their book, and we're going to read it. And then it would be interesting to see what I do, because I wouldn't want to say what I think about it, but I also am nice to people, so we'd have to figure that out. But the point is, I'm going to be reading a book a day, spend an hour a day doing this reading, and then taking notes. So absorbing it, taking notes, looking at it, not from I'm going to read every single page of this, I'm going to skip past, skip past the forward, skip past the introduction, okay, I assume, look, I've already bought your book. Let's get past the introductory chapter, give me your life story and how you came up with it. Good, let's get to the meat of it. And then try to take notes. So that's kind of a big term. I don't know if I'm gonna highlight. I don't know if I'm gonna get my little. I got my sticky pads here. I've got more. I got some smaller ones. These are fun. These are fun just to put in, or like a highlighter or a marker. I don't know what I'm gonna do, because they're books. They're physical books. At the moment, I'm only doing physical books. If there was something really amazing, I can only get on Kindle. Maybe we'll talk about that. But it's physical books, taking notes on it, trying to internalize, pulling those ideas out of the book for two reasons. First of all, note-taking helps you retain the information better. I'm probably going to be making a lot of jokes in the next month about the number of books on the shelf and just exactly how many of them I have read. But I'll be honest with you, and I think if you're honest with yourself, you would agree. There are books that you've read, and then later you struggle to really remember a lot of what was in there, unfortunately. I've had this with like technical stuff for work. I'll read something, and then years later I come back to it, like I'm on a project and they need me to know something. I'm like, oh, I know all about that. And I read it. I'm like, I have no memory of this. I have no memory of this book. Sorry, I have a little pad here that just fell over. It's very real. We're very raw today. Just notes. I just want to make sure I cover everything that we're talking about with this. So the note-taking is important. Not just reading and saying, oh, reading, whatever, but reading it and then actually writing out either hard copy. I have a wide variety of notes, notebooks and things like that. Probably not, maybe a little bit, maybe a diagram. Who's to say? I like a nice diagram. But I think what I'm mostly going to be doing is using... my wife's going to kill me. Using this bad boy here to type up some notes in Obsidian. I haven't talked about Obsidian that much. We use it on the channel here for video notes and the transcripts. That's going out in Markdown language. I love Obsidian. And what I'm going to be doing is putting my thoughts and putting notes about the books that I read into Obsidian. And I'll give you the really short version of Obsidian. Is basically, it's a very, very robust, but it's a simple application. You can download it on your phone. It's on iOS, it's on Android. It's free. It's open source. It's on PC, it's on Mac, it's on Linux. God help you. But it's on all of them. I think you pay to sync them up across multiple accounts, which I do because I have it on my phone, and I will randomly take a note and I save it and it's done and then it syncs up. But it's on my desktop and I have loads of information on there. But it's basically, they're note files. They're just markdown text files, and some of these notes are really big. This is where I make scripts for the videos, and I put like random thoughts into this application, just random. I'll just make a little note about an idea for a video or an idea for something that I've been reading or just some random thing that I'm thinking about, and I'll put it in there. And what happens is what Obsidian does, and a lot of these other tools do it too, but I like Obsidian. It's very simple and it's super lightweight and fast, and as you're typing, it's just like, double bracket and you're creating a new note or you're linking to one another, and it's really, really great at that. It's got loads and loads of linking and tagging functionality. It's all built in natively. And then it's got some really beautiful tools internally where you want to search. It's got a really powerful search, and it links these notes together. And that's the thing I'm really excited about with this, because right now, every one of these books on my shelf is isolated. They're isolated from each other. The information in what do we got? Well, we got the Feel Good Productivity there. What's another one? The Age of Agile. That's one there. That's interesting. You know, Age of Agile. Age of Agile is about businesses and companies and being agile, presumably. No spoilers. We haven't read that one yet. We haven't read it as part of the challenge. And then down there, I've got grid systems. I've got grid systems about visual design. It's got a lot to do. It's a huge impact on UI and UX. Really interesting stuff there. I don't know about you. I can imagine there might be some connectivity between a book about the age of agile and making products and being flexible and all this stuff and UX and UI. Or right next to that, there's another one, the design of everyday things. I am a basic B when it comes to a lot of these books. You recognize a lot of these. They're productivity business bestsellers. There's some interesting stuff that we'll talk about that in a minute. But getting that into Obsidian and getting the ideas, some of the high level ideas and the smaller ideas and the random ideas, and if there are techniques or little stories. I love stories when explaining things. It always really helps when you can give a story, some kind of narrative, an example of a concept. That works. That's got to be the most effective thing that I've ever done when I do training. Every time I do training, we do internal training. I've led classroom exercises like dozens of times, and we get the feedback, and every time I always get, it's one of the things I do really well, I get loads and loads of positive feedback about having stories and examples. And I see this every single time I do it, is I didn't understand, this is a comment that I'll get from someone. They'll say, I didn't understand this concept, or I've struggled with this concept. I couldn't wrap my head around it. And then Tom had this story, and finally it clicked into place. And that's what I want, because I have all of these individual books, but they're not talking to each other. They're not. They're a tiny bit in my brain, maybe they're talking to each other, but you know what? If I start reading them and I start taking notes and I put it down in this, what do we call it? Personal knowledge bank, I think we're calling it. I think that's the term. That's like the industry term. If I start writing down the interesting things from the book and I put it into this tool, which I own, it's not on the cloud, it's my own, nobody can take it from me. I have that, and then I'm going to start seeing these connections, and I'm going to start noticing that and noticing the stuff that comes up in one book. It's a similar idea to another book, and maybe that leads me to another, and God help me if I start adding in the footnotes and the endnotes and the citations and stuff. That's going to get really complicated. What's going to happen is I'm going to start building up this network of ideas, and it's going to be mine. And I've already been doing this. Again, like I said, I already have Obsidian. I use it to take all kinds of notes, all kinds of random ideas I have at different times. I just grab my phone, I make a note, I throw it in there. And this is a way for me to do this kind of more systematically. Like it's a backlog. It's a ton of stuff. It's loads and loads and loads of stuff that I can get and I can put in there. And if I take the time to do this, if I give myself the time, I give myself the goal. Like I said, it's a nice goal. It's not a smart goal. If I give this to myself and I look back, I've been making a lot of improvements in my life the last few months, and they are really paying off. And one of them that I really have to work hard, and I don't know if you have this as well. Maybe there's a reason you want to try this, or you want to do something similar, or, comment below what you think about this. But there are a lot of things, again, going back to that output-based goal versus the input-based goal. I think we all have these output-based goals. We want to have read a bunch of books, or we want to have produced a bunch of stuff, or we want to have made, there's all kinds of stuff like that we want to have done. And a lot of the time, the thing is, we live every day. You wake up in the morning and you have a day. And you've got your morning, and then maybe your kids have to get to school, and then there's the rest of the morning, and then there's lunch, and then the afternoon, and then you're thinking about dinner, and it's done, and it's like, I have to take this big, complicated thing that's going to take me a long time to do, and I have to get my head wrapped around the fact that there's 24 hours in a day, and I only have so much time. And you know what? If I adopt this habit, Atomic Habits, I don't know if he talks about it. Maybe this will be something that comes up in Atomic Habits. But if I adopt this habit and I make it happen, if I dedicate an hour a day to a thing, or 30 minutes 3 times a week, or 15 minutes every morning, or whatever it is, whatever the goal is, if I can do that, then if I work it into my routine after a few weeks or a month, in this case, I look back on it and I will be, or you will be if you do this for yourself, you'll just be blown away. It's like, I can't believe I did this. Because I'm going to take a lot of notes. I easily will take 10 notes per book. Like, every one of these. Even if it's like one of these books is totally derivative of another book, I'll have notes on it. And if I have those notes, and I put them in there, and that's 10 times 10, that's 300 notes about all of this stuff. And I'll tell you, I've already been doing this. I haven't been doing this directly with the books. That's what I want to do, is I want to really feed this into my knowledge system. But I've already started seeing the benefit from doing this, from having my, again, they call it personal knowledge bank or personal knowledge management system. Tiago Forte calls it Second Brain. That's kind of the first place I heard about it. But I'm now at that point, and I don't know if you are. I think you should try this. If you're not, even if you're not, it's easy to do. We can talk more about it on the channel. Again, leave a comment below. I've now built up enough stuff in there that I go looking in the knowledge. I start writing something that I think, oh, I have an idea about this, and then the knowledge bank, my Obsidian bank, is like, you don't have a thought about this. You had a thought about this like 3 months ago. Or 6 weeks or something. And I'm like, wait, what? And I open it up, and there's something that in my brain, I'm like, oh yeah, I've had some random thoughts about this times. I should sit down and write something about that. And I pull it up and I realize, yeah, I did have thoughts about that. I had weeks or months ago, I just wrote down a whole bunch of ideas about this, even without the interconnected stuff, even without all of that. I have ideas and I put them down. I put them down on paper, digital paper. I put it in there, and it's there, and I have it, and I'm getting the benefit of it. So I'm now at that part of the cycle in having a second brain and having this knowledge and really leveraging this stuff, and now I'm starting to get really excited. So that's why I'm doing this. I'm doing the 30 for 30 challenge. It is not to read the whole book. I'm not reading 30 entire books in 30 days. Nobody's got time for that. What I'm doing, though, is I can spend an hour a day. Yes, I'm clearing away some other things from my calendar, because that's what you have to do. That's part of setting one of these goals. You say, well, wait a minute, if you haven't, like, where is your spare hour? So there's some other things I'm gonna be not doing during this time. But I will do this. I will have my nice goal. I will set an hour a day to sit and read and take notes and actively engage. I'm gonna set up the camera probably at a different angle. The desk will look differently, but as I'm doing it, we'll probably do like a screen capture too, just in case. I don't know if I'll post the videos on it. That could be interesting, or if I just come back at the end, or maybe in the middle of this thing. Could be interesting. Again, whatever we think could be interesting to this. But as I'm doing this, again, recording it, maybe having some random thoughts, having some adjustments in what we do. I'm thinking, with every hour, maybe set a timer or something, so I know when we're nearing the end and we sort of wrap up, and I have some thoughts or some next steps if I want to come back to one of these topics, or if I read one book and get really jazzed, really interested in something, I say, now I want to go, I want to read. I was going to read some other random thing, but now I want to go focus on this and do something else. That's what I want to do there. I'm just looking at my notes now somehow, because I talked way more. That's the key. If I talk way more than I thought I would, guess what? I talked about all the stuff that I was going to talk about. Yeah, so Obsidian, Knowledge Bank, note-taking, all good stuff. Obsidian. Obsidian doesn't pay me anything. Again, if they want to send me money, I'll let you know that I'm taking money for them, but I don't think I am. There's like 1 million videos online on Obsidian and what you can do with it. My advice is download and just go into it. But again, we could talk about that another time if we want. Yeah, so again, the nice goals, setting for an hour, that's something I control. 1 hour is a totally reasonable thing that I can do every single day. That is within my means, that I can get done, even if I have to do it after the kids go to bed and everything else, I can take that time and get that done. So how about you? What can you do with this? So first of all, like I said, if you're like a large content provider, a creator, and you want to like steal this idea and we can make it a whole thing and blow up the internet, cool. I will just, I will take a very reasonable cut, like 5% of the net. We'll be good. Give me a call. We'll be done too. But no, seriously, if you want to do this too, I think this could be fun. You could do this with anything. Like, I'm doing it with mostly work-related stuff. I've got some others. We'll talk about that in a minute. You could do this for yourself. Can you do something for an hour? Something. Let me ask you this. Is there something that you can do that you've maybe been like, I want to do this. I want to spend more time with the kids, or I want to cook more. I want to something like, could you spare an hour a day to do this? Maybe there's something that you want to do. Like I said, you have to cut something else out of your life. You could use this as an excuse for that, right? Because you could say that. You could say, well, I'm doing this challenge, so is it okay if I get out of this other thing? Or is it okay if I move something around for the schedule and you can save time for that. You can have the time for that too. So you could do this. I think this would be, again, Obsidian is free. There are other knowledge management systems out there you could use. I mean, you could just use like Google Notes or Apple Notes or something if you just want to throw it in there. But Obsidian does this linking and this cross-linking and the amazing search. It does really great stuff. And again, it's free. So, you could do this for yourself, whether or not you publish it, or you could talk about it here. I'd love to hear it from people. I'd also love to hear if you have any ideas about what I could read, because I've definitely got 30 books, but if people are interested, if there's something that people think, and I'll do some amount of posting as we go, but if there is something that sounds interesting as we go, or some kind of book or some suggestion that would be interesting, we could do that. I'm thinking in terms of sharing this, or in terms of what we're going to have on the channel. Like I said, I plan to record this every day. I will see what it looks like, if people would be interested in this. Again, I'm thinking I will be like reading and looking, and then, I would like talk to the camera a little bit as I'm taking notes. We could do like a screen share as I'm recording notes. That could be interesting. Also, again, sort of summing up at the end of the day what we've got. I think also in terms of the notes that I take, maybe that's something to put out there. We're working on that for the channel, for the Knowledge Bank. I feel I feel a tiny bit, maybe I'm a little, we'll see how it goes about that, because I feel a little bit like, if I'm reading somebody else's book and I'm taking notes and I'm like, here are the good parts from this person's book, it's like, does that make you more likely to buy their book? I'd like to think so. I always feel like that. I rarely, whenever I see someone, whenever I would see something like that, if someone was like, here's some free, really great insights from so-and-so's book, I would be like, wow, that book sounds really good. I want to go get that book. But I feel like some people might say, you're kind of mooching off of this. So I'm not sure what we would do about that. Again, I'm focused on, there's a lot of general productivity stuff. There's some professional stuff. I'm going to try to keep it. We'll do it a mix. We'll move it around. We'll mix. I have some. You might have noticed I have some non-professional stuff here. I think I'm going to put that in for the mix. So we're going to have some fun stuff, because we're going to have stuff on like productivity and product design and business and IT and software development practices, but also how do you run like like a D&D campaign, or Cyberpunk. That's a good one. So we'll see what all that is. And but again, like I said, this is just this is the start of this. If you're seeing this, so I'm doing this. I'm going to aim to do this here in September. Putting this up. I have no idea when this video is going out. It's probably after the beginning of September. But you know what? If you want to do this for yourself, don't let that stop you. Right? So if you want to do this, that sounds like a cool idea, you can do it for 30 days. Or you do 4 weeks. You like start on a Monday. You could do a challenge like this every Monday. And I would love to hear from people. I would be so excited if this became a thing. It's already a thing. People do these challenges. I know I'm acting like I'm inventing this. I'm not inventing this. You go to YouTube. When you're done with this, after you've liked and subscribed, you just search, 30-day challenge. Everybody does this. I did this for 30 days. I did that for 30 days. I'm just telling you I'm starting at the beginning, and I don't really have any big, like, goal for that. I mean, I don't have any, like, I'm trying to detox my phone in 30 days. I'm just trying to do a thing for 30 days. But that might be the best thing we can all learn how to do, right? Because if you do that, imagine you did that. Imagine you like, I'm going to read a book every day for an hour for 30 days. And at the end of 30 days, you're like, that was cool, but now I'm going to do another thing. I'm going to take that hour that I was doing the reading every day. I'm going to do something else. I'm going to organize my life or clean up or do something else I've been meaning to do. Like, this could be the thing in your life. This could be the little bit of bandwidth that you slot in something that you just make, like, steady progress on. And then at the end of every month, and then at the end of a year, you're like, damn, I did 12 great things. Like, my house is sparkling. I know how to cook. I read all these books. I hiked to no, you can't do that because you gotta like come home every day. But you know what I'm saying. This is the problem I had. I wrote all these great ideas. I had all these great ideas. I'm like, I gotta talk about this. I gotta make sure I describe the challenge, and I gotta do all of this. And then I have nothing. I got nothing on the ending. I have no idea how to end this. Okay, so I guess I'll just sum up again. So 30 days, an hour a day. I'm gonna record it. If you want to see this. If you want to see those, that's great. Otherwise, I'm going to post it as we go. Taking notes, personal knowledge. You can do it too. I'd love it if we all did it. And I guess I'll see you soon. Oh, what should I start? Oh, I actually know what I'm going to start with. It's coming soon. You'll see. The first book. I'll do something about the first book because it makes a little bit of sense. I'll do a follow-up video on that. But yeah, that's it. But that's the first. So if you got an idea, what should the second one be? I'll probably put a list in the description of a few books on here. People can look and see what they want. And happy September.